Okay, we are live. Hello, everyone. I hope you're well. Maddie, it takes a little bit of time for the girls to come in, so I like to have a bit of a natter first to make sure that we've got people who can see us and hear us. Sorry, we're a little bit late today. The internet has been challenging. It happens in Brisbane, and I don't know why. Some days are better than others. It's a volume thing, I'm sure. But hang in there, girls, and we will do our best to give this session to you live. So for those of you who are new to here, welcome. I'm Anita McLaughlin, and I founded Sequins and Sand about 12 years ago now. And during this difficult, disruptive time, I wanted to reach out to our community and just give girls a place to anchor back to come back regularly, to be able to relax and breathe and learn some interesting things, some helpful things to help get through this time. We've had amazing discussions. We are, I think, about lesson 18 or so now of 35, so about halfway. And we've talked about all manner of things, of which health is one. And with health, there's also movement. And the movement part is what we are exploring today with the lovely Maddie, who's sitting there very patiently waiting for me while I keep rambling on. Hi, Maddie. Maddie is an exercise physiologist, and she can explain to you what that means, because it's a term that I wasn't familiar with until I started going to Body Smart here in Brisbane. Body Smart Health, can I just say, I am going to give them a shameless plug, because they are the most incredible team of health professionals I've come across for movement and care. When I moved up from Melbourne, probably about 6 years or so, I really struggled to find a practice that I felt comfortable with, that I could continue my Pilates with, that understood me and I understood them, and Body Smart was it for me, a great team of people. And I'm very grateful for Maddie's time and Magella for freeing Maddie up to bring this session to us live today. This is a privilege. So thanks very much, guys. We'll put some links into where people can find out more about Body Smart Health at the end of the session. So this is Maddie. Maddie is an exercise physiologist, and today we're going to talk about Mat Pilates. And it's something that some of you may be familiar with, some of you might not be, but we're going to go through some beginner's moves. So over to you, Maddie. Tell us a little bit about you and today's session.
Awesome. Thanks for that introduction, Anita. So my name's Maddie, like I already said. I'll give you a quick rundown about what an exercise physiologist is, because like you mentioned, not many people do know. So as an exercise physiologist, basically our motto, movement is medicine. We're all about that movement. So we help people kind of along all parts of the spectrum. They might have a specific chronic condition, and we use exercise to help manage that chronic condition. So people with, heart disease or diabetes, but then also on the other side of the spectrum, we help with lifestyle interventions, behaviour change. It's really helping people adopt those healthy lifestyle behaviours. And we also work a lot with musculoskeletal conditions, so helping people to understand their bodies better, how to move them properly, and how to become more pain-free, improve their quality of life, and really just spend their life doing things they enjoy without pain kind of weighing them down or feeling like it's controlling them. So that's what we're here for. Whatever anyone's goal may look like, we're here to help through using movement. And one of the areas that I'm really interested in, as well as using gym exercises, I also am a qualified Pilates instructor as well. So I do a lot of mat work, Pilates, and reformer Pilates, which I think is a really great modality for people who might think, gym might not be their kind of scene. Seeing their gentle movements, but they can also, as you'd know, Anita, they can get your muscles burning. You definitely feel stressed out after doing Pilates as well. So really great to help the body moving. It's really fun as well. There's so many things you can do. It never gets boring. So in today's session, we're going to go through some beginner moves, we'll go through sets, but I'm going to talk through the exercise, why it's important, the benefits of that exercise. And if you're watching at home, feel free to jump down onto the ground, grab a mat, and you can do the exercises with me as well.
Sounds good, Maddie. Sounds like a plan. And I can vouch for that burn. It's a good burn. You know, it works when it burns.
So we're going to get started. The camera's just reversed. I'm figuring out where I am. I think that works. Okay.
That works.
So we're going to
start. We got you.
I'll talk you through the exercise first. The first exercise we're going to be doing today, I'll switch back this way, are some knee rocks. So knee rocks are really great exercises for promoting mobility through the spine and the trunk. You might find that when you wake up in the morning, you feel a little bit sick. So this movement is really great for just getting some mobility through the back, reducing any stiff you might be experiencing. So we're going to start lying down on your back. From here, we're going to walk the feet in towards the bottom. The main things to think about in this exercise are keeping the knees together and keeping the shoulders on the mat. From here, you can place your hands wherever's comfortable, and we're just going to rock the knees from side to side. So this exercise is a fairly simple one, but really great for just promoting that mobility around the spine area and just reducing some stiffness you might experience. So we're just going to work through around about 10 of these knee rocks, but these ones are a really gentle exercise. So when you wake up in the morning, you can even do these ones in bed, and you can do as many as you feel comfortable. And I even do these ones when I wake up sometimes. Really great for just promoting mobility.
Yeah, that's a great one. Nice, gentle way to start the day.
Exactly. You don't want to go from 0 to 100. You want an easier way into the day. And this is a really great way to do it. From here, we're going to go into a glute bridge. So the glute bridge, like the name suggests, we work the glute muscles, also more commonly known as your bum muscles. So the largest muscle group in the body. They're really important. I might just sit up and feel a bit funny lying down speaking. The glutes are really important to help us do everything. They help us stay standing. They help us to walk. They help us to run. They help us to do everything we love. So keeping them strong and functioning properly is really, really important. So the glute bridges are one way to strengthen this muscle. Again, like the knee rocks, we want to walk the feet in towards the bottom, but we don't want the feet to be too far away from the bottom, and we don't want them to be too close. So a good point is having the feet roughly underneath the knees. From here, we want to make sure we don't have a big arch underneath the lower back. We want to soften that back in towards the mat. We want to engage our abdominal muscles, and from here we want to drive the weight through our heels. We want to engage our glute muscles and squeeze them to push our hips towards the ceiling. Now, as we're doing this, we want to make sure we don't overarch through the back too much. We want to maintain a neutral spine because we don't want to get anything to get aggravated through that back. So we finish with this beautiful straight line from the knees to the hips to the shoulders. We want to maintain engagement of the core, and then we're just going to gently lower the bottom back down to the ground. And again, for today, we're just going to keep things nice and simple. We're going to be doing 10 reps, squeezing the glutes as we drive the hips to the ceiling. And another thing, Anita, with Pilates, we like to focus on breathing as well, because breathing is really important. So as we go into this glute bridge, we're going to exhale to lift our hips away, and we're going to inhale to lower back towards the ground.
I think that's a really good point you make, Maddie, because I think breathing is sometimes misunderstood or underrated. You know, for those of us who've given birth, we might understand the power of breath, but it really is important. It's for me, it's like a point of focus, and it helps you push through whatever move that you're doing.
Oh, 100%, especially when things get tough. It's nice to be able to focus on the breathing. It does help you get through a set, 100%. All right, guys, we're just going to do 2 more glute bridges here, making sure you're driving the weight through the heels. If you want, you can even lift your toes away from the ground to give you a little bit of feedback. Squeezing the glutes to drive the hips to the ceiling, maintaining engagement of our core muscles. And our last one here, we're going to drive those hips up to the ceiling. Big squeeze of the glutes and lower back down.
So, Maddie,
So,
when we drive through our heels for that, how is
yeah.
that different to, say, putting pressure on the front of your foot where the base of your toes are? What difference does that make?
It changes the muscle recruitment and the muscle engagement. So you might find that if you put the weight through your toes, you're probably going to feel it more in the front, the muscle in the front of the leg. You might even get a bit of straining through the middle of the legs. By putting the weight through the heels, we're making sure that the focus is on those glute muscles and that they can really engage to be working properly. Otherwise, we kind of take away from the glutes and it starts to come into the front of the legs.
Yeah, I think it's really important doing this stuff too, that you understand that the slightest change, like something like that, can often result in the biggest change, so getting the positioning right and focusing on the area that you're trying to work with is really important, I think.
Exactly, and that's one of the big things that we focus on with Pilates is body positioning, really getting people familiar with their bodies and where their body is in space. You might find that we're cueing you to do an exercise, cueing you to pull your shoulders down. You're like, oh, I thought my shoulders were down. So we're really big on body positioning, really getting you familiar with your body and how to move fluidly and comfortably and properly.
Yeah.
Awesome. We're going to continue working the glutes now. This is where some of the glute burn can come in. So we're going to come lying down onto our side. So in this side, I'm going to lie all the way down. I'm just going to comfortably pop my head up. Oh, we're back. Whatever's comfortable for you in this side lying position, you can also grab a pillow if you like. Get nice and comfy. The main things to think about in this side lying position are keeping our hips nice and stacked. Now, keeping the word stacked is probably a word that you hear a lot in Pilates, but we do, and when I say hips stacked, what I mean is imagining both sides of your pelvis. You want to imagine that if they were stacked on top of each other, that they would be in line. So we're not rolling backwards because then they're not in line, and we're not rolling forwards because then they're not in line. So we want them to stay nice and stacked here.
Yeah.
From here, we also want a small lift from underneath the lower rib cage so that we're keeping that spine nice and neutral in this side lying position. For this exercise, which is a clam, my knees are towards the front of the mat. My heels are towards the back of the mat, so I've got a nice bend through my legs. And I'm going to keep my heels glued together, super glued together even. And from here, I'm going to think about using my glute muscles on the top side of my body to lift my knee away from the bottom knee while my heels are staying nice and glued together. And then I'm going to lower. Now, some things to think about here. We don't want to open so high that, again, we roll backwards and those hips become unstacked. Exactly. So we're only lifting as high as we can whilst maintaining that form. We also want to lightly engage our core muscles here because that's going to help us keep that small gap underneath the lower rib cage, and it's going to help with our control as well. So again, we're going to work through 10 reps here. So we don't overcomplicate things. 10's a really nice and easy number to think of. So if you want to follow through these exercises at home and you want to even do them after this video is done, just doing 2 sets of 10 of each exercise we do will be really great for you. So we're going to keep working through this movement. I'm keeping the hips stacked. I'm starting to feel it in my glute muscles here, and that's where you should be feeling it. Keeping those heels glued together. I'm going to exhale to lift, and I'm going to inhale to lower. And even though we are doing a lower body exercise here, make sure you're not holding too much tension through your neck. Relax your body, focus on those glutes working. Alrighty, we've got 2 more here. Beautiful.
And that control is really important, isn't it, Maddie? Particularly as you start to fatigue, and you will, when you let your knees, you really want to let your knee just collapse down onto the other knee. That control is really what you need to try and focus on pushing through, having the control all the way through.
And I always say quality over quantity. I would much rather do it 10 quality reps rather than 20 reps that are rushed with poor form, because you're not going to get as much benefit out of those reps that have poor form. So really focusing on that control, thinking about your body positioning, so you're getting the most benefit out of the exercise. Alrighty, from here, so we've got 2 exercises for our glutes so far. So do you want me to do the other side of these glutes, Anita? We've done one
up
side.
to you, but I think it's up to you, but you'd have your back to us then, wouldn't you?
I can flip my head down the other end.
Okay, all right, whatever you want to do, because it's important to always work in balance, isn't it? If you do one side, then you've got to do the other.
Yeah, if you're following along from home and you're doing this exercise, we'll make sure you've got nice even glutes, because you can feel it when you've got uneven. If you've worked one side and you haven't worked the other side, you can feel it.
You know what? I've got a confession to make about glutes. While you're doing those, this has been the one muscle group that has taken me years to wake up. That's another term that's often used, is waking up the muscle. And I know I can say this because I've fitted so many gorgeous women. You know, we all get flat bums, you know, over the years as you get older. If you don't use them, that's what happens. And it can take a while to get those muscles working properly again. I'm talking, it took me probably 3 years with Steph, you know, once a week, every week, just trying to get them to wake up. It was a real struggle. So some muscle groups can take time if you haven't worked them for a while.
And like I mentioned, the glutes are so important, yet the number of people that don't actually know how to properly use their glutes in everyday movements, it's quite high. And that's why it is so important to focus on the glutes, because they help us with so many everyday movements.
Yeah.
And if you don't use the glutes properly, you'll end up having other musculoskeletal issues that end up in the rest of the body. You know, you might have knee pain, ankle pain, hip pain. So there's so many things that can kind of come from not using the glutes properly. So really important to make sure we are focusing on them, strengthening them, and using them properly. All right, we're going to do one more rep here. If you're following along at home, hopefully you're feeling a little bit of a burn in the glutes. I know I definitely am. It really doesn't take much to get those muscles working, especially if you are focusing on your control and your form.
Yeah.
All righty. The next exercise that we're going to be doing is called a bird dog. Now, I love this exercise. It's a real bang for your buck exercise. Just to give you a quick demonstration before I talk about it more, just so you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
The exercise, you might have seen it before as well, where we're reaching out opposite arm and opposite leg. So with your bird dog, it promotes whole body stability. We're looking at abdominal, hip, spine stability, shoulder stability, while we're also strengthening the muscles as well. It can also help ease or reduce lower back pain. It's really a great exercise, and I probably do give it to a majority of people that I see, because I think that it has great benefits that can come from it. And like you know in Pilates, Anita, we can always layer exercises and give them a bit of a twist to make them a bit difficult as well. So I'm going to show you the bird dog now. We're going to talk through the proper technique setup, because while a simple exercise, it is one that can be done wrong.
Okay.
All right, we're going to come into a 4-point kneel here. In your 4-point kneel, you want to make sure that the knees are directly underneath the hips and the hands are directly underneath the shoulders. So I've got this beautiful tabletop position with my back. If I was to pop a glass on my back, a glass of water on my back, it wouldn't spill. From here, we want to find our neutral spine. So we don't want to be too arched and we don't want to be too bent. So if you want, you can actually just move through this movement, which many of you may know as a cat-camel, just arching the spine moving the spine through both directions. And then if you stop at the point between those two movements, you'll find your neutral spine.
Right.
And that's really important as well for this exercise, so that we are exercising while the spine is in its proper position, or in its desired position. From here, we want to soften the elbows slightly, just making sure the arms aren't locked out. So we soften them slightly, but the arms are still straight. We then pull the shoulder blades together so that the shoulders come, you see that? The shoulders come down away from the ears. So now we're in our starting position. from here, we want to engage our abdominal muscles, engage our core. So I'm going to think about drawing my belly button to my spine. And by thinking about drawing my belly button to spine, I can feel those core muscles turning on. Now we're all ready to reach out the arm and leg. So what I'm going to do from here, I'm going to reach out my arm and leg. I'm going to hold for 2 to 3 seconds before placing my hand and knee down and repeating on the other side. Now, some things to think about as we're going through this movement. Initially, as you lift up the arms and legs, you're probably going to feel a bit wobbly because we're working on that stability. So that's why it's really important to take it slow, making sure we're keeping those muscles engaged. We want to reach out and we want to try and keep the pelvis nice and level. So like we talked about keeping things stacked, we talk about keeping the pelvis level as well. So we don't want to open up through the hips and have the pelvis open. We want to keep both hip bones pointing towards the ground. And we also want to make sure we're not overarching through the arms and the legs, okay? We want to keep that neutral spine. Alrighty, guys, if you're following along at home, again, we're going to do 10 reps. We're holding for 2 to 3 seconds at the top before switching sides. As for your breathing, we're going to exhale as we reach out. And we're going to inhale to lower. Really taking it nice and slow to focus on your form and trying to stay nice and out. If you feel as though reaching both arms and legs out at the same time, if you feel a little bit wobbly, you can just start with leg extension. So keeping my hands on the ground, I might just start with a leg extension. And then as I work my way up, I might do a leg extension with a small arm lift. And then I might work my way towards the full extension. Just finding a level that feels good for you. All right, we're going to work through 2 more here. Practicing that neutral spine, drawing the belly button to spine. We're going to exhale to lift for our last one. Keep the shoulder blades squeezed together and lowering the hands and the feet. Alrighty. From here, we're going to work. How are we going for time?
Oh, we're pretty good. We've got a couple of minutes.
Couple of minutes to go. Alrighty.
Yeah.
I might just give you one exercise. We're working on abdominal stability there, but I'm going to give you another exercise where you're going to feel it a little bit more in your core. So we're going to come all the way back down onto your back, making sure I'm in frame. Alrighty. Now from here, we want to find, we talk about neutral spine a lot, but it is so important. We want to find our neutral spine. So we don't want to have a big arch underneath the lower back, but we also don't want it too flattened. So again, you can work through some pelvic tilts here by pushing our back into the mat and then arching the back away from the mat. By doing those pelvic tilts, we can then stop at the point between the 2 hip tilts to find our neutral spine. So you're imagining if you imagine a butterfly underneath your lower back, you want your back to be low enough to the mat that the butterfly can't escape, but not too flat that you crush the butterfly. So find that neutral spine. We're going to think about engaging those core muscles. You can think about drawing the hip bones together. Even stopping the flow of urine can sometimes be a cue that works for people. We're talking about these deeper core muscles here, these ones that sit a bit further down. And we're going to lift both legs up into our tabletop position. So this is what we call tabletop, obviously because the legs look like a beautiful tabletop. And we're going to go into some toe taps here, or some heel taps. So what I'm going to do, whilst maintaining that neutral spine, I'm going to tap. Sorry, my legs are a little bit out of frame there. Let me move
You're right.
a little bit. Am I going this way? No, I'm going this way.
Otherwise, that's it. That's it.
I'm going to tap my heel to the ground, keeping my leg bent at a 90-degree angle, alternating sides. As you take your foot towards the ground, your back's going to want to arch and collapse.
Yeah.
But it's important to maintain that neutral spine. So keep drawing that belly button to spine. Exhale, down. Inhale to lift. really focusing on that control, just lightly tapping the heel to the ground, and you're going to feel those core muscles working to help keep that back in your neutral spine position. Coming back to the tabletop position, making sure we're not letting the heels drop too low or tucking the knees too close into the chest. And that's where you're going to feel a big difference, is this leg positioning. So we're just going to work through 2 more taps, and that will bring us to the end of our session this morning.
Fantastic.
Alrighty, guys. I hope you enjoyed the introduction to those mat work Pilates exercises. Hopefully you could feel the right muscles working.
Yeah, no, that's great, Maddie. And what I might do is just put some notes in the feed of the movements that you did in summary, so the girls know what the moves are called and what areas they work. So I'll do that after the session because we are out of time. Thank you. I really enjoyed that, girls. Pilates is awesome. I think it's wonderful for any age, really. But as we get older, it is something that is really important to do for our overall strength and stability and balance. My goodness, you know, that's really important as we age too. It touches on so many things. So thanks, Maddie. Have a great day, sweetheart. Hello to the crew there. Thanks, girls. I will see you tomorrow for when I talk bus, bellies, and bathers. My goodness, it's all happening here. Thanks, girls. Have a good day. Bye.
Bye.